After 5 years, the Polish ambassador to Delhi is leaving. He's leaving with a lot of fond memories and making sure that relationship between Warsaw and New Delhi solidifies, but a lot of challenges as well. Let's speak to the ambassador. Sir, welcome to WION. My first question, an obvious question is, after 5 years, how do you see the relationship between Poland and India going forward?
The relationship between Poland and India is strong and is becoming stronger from several points of view. First is the increase of the trade volume, which crossed the 4 billion USD last year and is growing and growing. We had some 2 difficult years of COVID, but we overcame that. Also, the connectivity between our countries has grown significantly during my tenure. Lot Polish Airlines opened direct flights to Delhi and Mumbai. And these flights go full, and there is a very good, very positive reaction to that flight. It brings people closer and closer. Also, we can name one thing, that is a growing Indian community in Poland, which is more than 40,000 right now, according to some estimations, and popularity of especially Indian cuisine in Poland, which also became very popular during last years. In Warsaw alone, we have 112 Indian restaurants. Everyone knows already in Poland what is India, and the image of India is, especially of Indians living in Poland, is very positive.
Last 5 years saw a lot of leadership level conversation between the two sides, political level conversation. In fact, we saw the Polish foreign minister also visiting Delhi. So in terms of the political relationship, how the relationship has been going forward?
So during last 5 years, we had a very important visit of External Affairs Minister Jaishankar to Poland in 2019, and also a very important visit of Professor Zbigniew Rau, Polish Foreign Minister, to India. We had many interactions on this level, also at the level of deputy foreign ministers. We have regular consultations, foreign office consultations every year. During COVID times, they were also there, but in online format, but we managed. We have many contacts. There is the need to make a high-level visit on this site or another, because, as I said, we are entering a new phase of our relations, especially in economic terms. We have new Polish investors in India, we have new Indian investors in Poland, and these connections are growing stronger.
Talking about the cultural aspect, last 5 years you have played an important role as Poland's cultural ambassador to India, and highlighted one important aspect of history, that is when India gave refuge to a lot of Polish refugees who were leaving the country after the invasion of your country. If you can talk about that, and also about the Polish artist who is responsible for many fantastic pictures at the Umaid Bhavan in Jodhpur.
During Second World War, there were around 6,000 refugees from Poland, because Poland in 1939 was attacked by Germany and Soviet Union, and people from Eastern Poland were deported to Siberian Soviet death camps, and then they could escape. And they escaped to Iran, and part of them ended up in India, in 2 places, in Jamnagar, Gujarat, where there was a refugee camp for around 1,000 children, operated by local Maharaja Jamsaheb Digvijay Singh Ji, and also to Kolhapur, where there was a very big camp for around 5,000 people, mainly adults. They were all Polish citizens, and the state of Poland is grateful for this deed made by India as a whole, and especially 2 royal families of Jamnagar, Gujarat, and Kolhapur, Maharashtra. And to commemorate this good deed, Poland named a few places in Poland to the good Maharajas. One of them is the high school named after Maharaja Jamsaheb Digvijay Singh Ji of Jamnagar, and I am the graduate of this high school. Also, you mentioned Jodhpur. There was a very famous Polish painter and designer, Stefan Norblin, who also escaped from from the war, the Second World War, and he was very active in India. He painted and partially designed Umaid Bhavan in Jodhpur with really splendid paintings in Art Deco style depicting the scenes from Indian tradition, like Ram returning from Sri Lanka, or Krishna, and all these important figures of Indian tradition. So these paintings are to be found in Umaid Bhavan in Jodhpur and also in Morvi, in the palace of local Maharaja.
So you're leaving after 5 years. Fond memories. You have been one of the most active ambassadors here in Delhi. Most reachable ambassador. One can reach you at midnight as well. If you can talk about memories you are taking from India to whatever is your next destination.
So India is more than half of my life. I'm a specialist in India. I'm a political scientist, and India is my specialization. So first time I came to India in 1997. What changed from that time is a very big economic progress of India, and developments, new infrastructure, and the trees that I remember from my first visit in 1997 are now very big and quite old, and so it's like 26 years of my relationship with India, and I will have many positive memories of interactions, and I met here wonderful people with open heart, and also I enjoyed Indian cuisine, which I'm a very big fan of, especially Gujarati cuisine, but also from other parts of India. I like Indian music, Indian movies, and also I want to promote more Poland in India, Polish culture, and we have made many cultural events as well. There is a Polish Institute in Delhi, which is also active. And
so you're leaving after 5 years. There must be some things which are not completed. Some things would you like to see completed by someone who comes after you. So if you can talk about that.
There's a lot to be done, of course. Our relationships are good. Also, relationships within European Union and India are good and progressing. But we should, I think, do more political meetings, political engagements to promote more economic cooperation and more connectivity. I said that there is a visible progress in connectivity, but I think we should do more, and I'm sure that my successor will continue on this task. By the way, I would like to also thank and express my gratitude to all my counterparts, Indian ambassadors in Warsaw during my tenure, His Excellency Ajay Bisaria, His Excellency Tsewang Namgyal, and Her Excellency Nagma Malik. We had a very good cooperation with all of them, and I think this should also be in the future.
So now talking about the challenges, there were a lot of challenges as well under your tenure. Of course, when you were based here, the conflict started, the war started, in fact, in Europe. If you can talk about that specific period when the first Russian tanks rolled into Ukraine last year on 24th of February, what was your first reaction? How did you went about in Delhi reaching out to the Indian establishment? We know that our students, Indian students, were also struck. Role Poland played in that.
The Russian aggression against Ukraine that started on 24th February 2022 is a major act of aggression, and we condemned it from the very beginning, from the day one, and together with our allies we are supporting Ukraine from the day one. Poland is offering humanitarian aid to Ukraine. We received a few millions of refugees from Ukraine. We are continuing to support Ukraine in all possible terms, also by giving them weapons and ammunition. And together with our allies, we are helping Ukraine to win. Ukraine. I'm sure that Ukraine will win this war and the territorial integrity of Ukraine will be restored. And these first weeks of the Russian aggression, we also observed the evacuation of Indian students from Ukraine. There were 22,000 of Indian students in Ukraine, and 6,000 out of them went via Poland to India, back to India. It was the operation of Indian government called Operation Ganga, and Polish authorities offered a very big help to them, and this not only the authorities, also the society welcomed them with open hearts. There were also many journalists from India covering these events. And it shows, it's another example of very good cooperation between Poland and India. There were several flights from Polish airports, and in our hearts we somehow paid the debt that we had during the Second World War when India helped the Polish refugees. And we understand them. Also, I saw one comment that for Indian students, Poland became one very big good Maharaja. So we are very proud that we could have helped Indian students to escape the Russian aggression, and the cooperation between our governments during that period was excellent. Also, I would like to mention that it was not only government, also the society helped. Also the Indian community in Poland was very active in this evacuation. I can name Mr. Amit Lat, who was very active. He's from Łódź, and he received a Pravasi Bharatiya award a few months back for his help in doing this evacuation.
So this conflict that's raging in Europe, if you can talk about Poland's perspective as to how it has changed Europe, because you're one of the frontline states now. We saw last year in November, one of the missiles also fell into Polish territory. So how has this war changed Europe, especially Poland?
We are not in state of war. We are helping Ukraine to fight this war, together with our allies from European Union, NATO, and many countries all around the world. There was a visit of Japanese Prime Minister in India, and from India he just went to Poland directly, and then he went to Ukraine. So this coalition that helps Ukraine is very strong, and I'm sure that Ukraine will win and restore the territorial integrity, and we are giving them all the possible help, and we are hoping for the victory as soon as possible.
So how do you see India's stance in the ongoing conflict? Because India has good relationship with Russia, and India has been having conversation with the Ukrainians as well.
We also saw that India is providing some humanitarian help to Ukraine, and that India is vocalizing the need for peace, which we appreciate, but our position is different. We condemn the Russian aggression from the day one.
Do you see India playing the role of mediator between Kyiv and Moscow, given India is also the chair of the G20?
The G20, the presidency of G20 for India is a very important time, and we see the growing role of India also during this presidency. And it's of course up to Indian government what decision to make.
So my final question to you is, when it comes to the ongoing conflict, there have been other countries who have been keen to play a role of mediator. We recently saw Chinese present in Moscow. Do you think that Asian countries like China can play a role, or are you hopeful that they can help resolve the conflict?
So our position is very clear. We condemn the Russian aggression from the day one, and we are supporting Ukraine. If any other country wants to help, all welcome. But our position is that Ukraine should win this war, and Ukraine will win this war.
Well, thank you so much, sir, speaking to you, and it was pleasure conversing you in last few years. You were one of the most active ambassador who one can reach out immediately, especially after the conflict started. You helped a lot of journalists as well. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, and I would like to add that WION TV, and especially you, Mr. Sidhant Sibal, also is a very good friend and a very active journalist. So congratulations.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. With video journalist Chandrasekhar, Sidhant Sibal for WION in New Delhi.